Hello, 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 everyone. I'm Dasha Jamieson with Red Rock Pastel Society of Nevada, and today we're gathering here on Zoom to officially close our 2024 Juried Online Member Exhibition, but presented for the first time two wonderful divisions, Masters and Open Division. And today we have very special guest, Christine Obers, demonstrating us her technique and sharing her secrets behind creating her award-winning piece. On what you will be able to see how it was created. Our show is still on our website, but not for long. So if you haven't on the main page, so if you haven't checked it out yet, so is our catalog here. Please go ahead and, as I say, Masters Division, Best in Show, Christine Obers, covering number 4, and full name is polo player too. So Christine will show us how she created this piece. And I just one more second. I'm gonna show our exhibition catalog. You can find link online, and I will share it in the chat. It turned out really good, so I always ordering few copies, and it's print on demand, so you guys can ship it straight to your house. A beautiful quality of a print, judges' remarks for award-winning pieces. So great design as always by our designer. Her name is Dasha also. So check out this book. PDF is available for free on our website, free download. Hard copy ships to you straight from Blurb. I guess we did this year 184 pages, if I'm not wrong, but it's not about quantity, it's about quality. Show is on the website, catalog is on Blurb. Thank you all for being here on Saturday. And now I'm gonna pin Christine and Chris Obers for you with her secrets. Ta-da!
Well, thank you so much, Dasha. Thank you so much for everybody who's here too. I really, really appreciate it. Honestly, winning this award was huge for me because this is the first time I've ever won a Best in Show award. I mean, it's it's quite an honor. And honestly, the fact that I won it in this organization too is just awesome because there are so many incredible artists. I consider some of the artists that are part of this group to be the best of all pastel artists. And for me to win a Best in Show was just unbelievable. So thank you so much. And also thank you very much to Lynn Alcelta because well, she is just one of the most amazing artists herself too. And the fact that she gave me this award was unbelievable. So anyhow, just sort of a little bit of a background on how this all happened was I needed to put together a piece of artwork for the American Academy of Equine Artists. I've wanted to get into their shows because, of course, it's horse related, and a lot of my artwork is horse related. So I was at IAPS, so coming home, and I was doing a little bit of research on Aiken, South Carolina, which is where the show was going to be taking place. That place is horse country. And they have the oldest polo field in the whole country. And besides, they have many more polo clubs there as well. So that's why I picked the theme of polo for this particular piece. Now, I'm going to switch over to my presentation, which I'm going to share my screen, just to kind of show what sort of happened as far as my decision to use that piece. So, this is the piece that this is like a photograph that I took in 2018, and I thought, well, it's got some potential. I'm kind of cutting off the far right side of it, but I thought if I cropped into it, I could maybe do something with this one. Now, I was over at the airport waiting for my flight coming back from IAPS. And so I was playing around with my phone. And using your phone for inspiration actually has been something I've been doing recently. There are a bunch of free phone apps that are available. So sitting there in the airport, I started kind of playing around with this photo. Oops, it's not advancing. Why not? Okay, so this was that was the photo that I had. This is the reference photo that I put together using Photo Leap. Now, Photo Leap is a free app that you can use on your phone. One thing that you have to be kind of careful about, if you use it a lot, they will freeze it up and they want you to pay. So, but I've been using it for a while before they actually froze it up. So, anyhow, this I kind of go through all the steps that I went through for creating it. Now, when I was showing this to Dasha in our practice, she was saying, well, I'll probably lose everybody if I show them every single step. So what I would like to do is make this available to anyone who's interested. I'll put my email address in the chat, and I can actually send this as a PDF so that you have all the steps. But the Photo Leap is actually a pretty easy app to navigate. And right off the bat on their homepage down below, they have change background. So, and those are instant edits. You go to start, you find your photo. What I did first off was I cropped it so that I wasn't getting a lot of that background stuff. Now this is pretty hideous, but you can change the background color by just going down to the scroll bar, then you kind of scroll all the way to the right. And one thing that I do a lot of when I'm working with my reference is I like to put a little bit more drama into it by rotating it just slightly. So I do that quite a lot. I'll even do that with my portraits. A lot of times, if it's just a head, sort of, I like to kind of turn it just a little bit, angle it so that you get a little bit more attitude for it. And because there were some artifacts that kind of were picked up, I show you how you get rid of those. And you can use a brush. You can use your finger for doing it. So, and that's actually what I did for this. And you can increase and decrease the brush size. And there, over here, what I'm doing is I'm also making adjustments to the contrast. And yeah, so I actually increased the contrast on it. And right there, you can see that. So I kind of played around with it a lot. And I've actually been doing this with a bunch of other photos too. And I think this is kind of a good way for, if you feel like you're stuck and you have a photo and you just want to do something with it just to maybe inspire you. I've been finding that this actually is kind of a really good way of doing it. You can see on the screen just a little, well, the images, some of the ones that I've been kind of playing with as far as for reference. So these are some other free apps that I really like too. Grid is wonderful for gridding out your image, your photo. Notonizer, and if you haven't used Notonizer, it's a wonderful app. You can use it for when you're out doing plein air, and you can take a picture and make a notan of it. They've got several different kinds of notans that you can create from like 2 grayscales, 3 grayscales, 4 grayscales. So that one's a great one to use. Photoshop Express is great too. It's a little bit more complicated than Photo Leap. So anyway, for today, this is going to be my demo. So this is the original picture. And as you can see, I've tilted it because Just having it sort of flat was a little bit boring. This way, it kind of gives a little bit more sense of lift of the horse. And this is how it came out using Photoleap. And I really like that. This is actually a piece that I've done before. When I first did it, I did it on Pastel mat, and it was the anthracite or whatever it's called. It's their dark gray. And it turned out pretty good. I wound up selling it to the girl who actually is riding that horse. But I actually think that using it on, I'm going to be using UArt 320 for that. I think that'll turn out better because it's a little bit blacker. Well, actually, it's quite a bit blacker than using the pastel mat. So that's the end of this. I'm going to stop my share. And I'll go to my easel. What I'm going to be probably focusing on first is I started doing this. Now it's actually, this is the opposite of a way I would normally work. Normally, when I'm working on a surface, I would do my darks first, and then I would kind of progress towards the middle. If I'm using a tone paper, I would use that as my middle value. But in this particular case, I'm going to be using the dark. Now, the way my light is set up, it's making this look really gray. This actually is the UArt, what is it? It is UArt 9x12. It's the 320 black. Now, when I did the polo player, that one actually was 600. It's a UArt also, and it's UArt black. Now, when I was speaking to somebody, the UArt representative over at IAPS, they said that there's a difference in how black it gets depending on the grit that's on there. So, and I can't remember whether it gets lighter when it has more grit or darker when it has more grit. But anyhow, for this particular piece, I'm going to go ahead and keep working on the lightest lights. And so I put in my lightest lights over here, which is these big solid white areas. And now,
what did you use for that, Christine?
I've been using my now I'm using my carb Othellos. And then I'm just using pencils right now. But when I get actually down to being near the end, what I'll probably do is I'll go ahead and put some soft pastel over top of it, like just in these really, really solid areas. And then in this area over here where it's a blue color. And unfortunately, the only way I can really show you my reference is kind of going back and forth like this. It'd be kind of nice if you had the reference to see, but
Christine, if when you have a chance, would you send me reference photo, please? What you're using today?
Yeah, would you like me to do it right now? I don't know if that might be kind of tricky for me to do that.
Not right now, but when you have a chance, so we were recording.
Okay. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and put in, this is another spot that's like the lightest lights on here. Now I'm using these Stabilo Carbothello pencils. There are actually other kinds of pastel pencils that I like even better, like some of these Cretacolors. These are great. The Derwents are really good. But the only problem I have with those is that I use an electric pencil sharpener. And those ones, because they're so soft, they have a tendency to break inside my pencil sharpener, which is really annoying because I have to stop and then try and unplug it up again. So, and if you're interested, I can actually show you what kind of pencil sharpener I use.
Yes, that would be helpful. That's a huge problem for me.
So this is my pencil sharpener, and my light is kind of distracting on it, but it's the AFMAT. And I like this one a lot, actually. This one is probably the best one I've ever found for not breaking the leads off in the middle and making it so that I have to stop. I know a lot of people who use pencils, they go ahead and use an X-Acto knife or they use a utility knife for sharpening. But I find that that's just too time consuming. I really don't want to spend my time doing that sort of thing. I'd rather be painting. So now,
Here is a question.
sure.
Go ahead.
Oh, well, one of the things too that I noticed is that even though this is, pretty dark, it's not black. So if I was to use a black pencil on here, you would see it because it would actually be darker than the surface. And that's really a problem. I actually like to have my surface even darker than this. So one of the things that I've used before is I've used this, and this is Stuart Simple's black, and it's supposed to be, according to the manufacturer, the blackest black in the world. So anyway, you can get it on Amazon. It's an acrylic, and I've put it on Lux Archival, and that works pretty good. I would actually almost like to ask Denise Peters, who's on this Zoom, what she was using too, because she does a lot of work that's on black. And that's kind of one of the things is trying to get your blacks as black as they can be.
Denise, I know you're online. If you can share that with us, that would be wonderful. Chris, we have a question coming in. How your photo was transferred to the paper?
Oh, okay. That's a great question. So I printed it out on my printer that's just here in the studio. And what I do is, in this particular case, I used a Terry Ludwig on the back of the paper and I used a gray. And I just rubbed it on the back, and then I used it kind of as my carbon paper and just traced over it. And that's how I got my drawing in. But there was a problem with using the Terry Ludwig because they are so soft. It had a tendency to make blobs all over the place. So I had to clean it up before I could use it. So I use a kneadable eraser and I just kind of go in and, dab up the problem areas. But yeah, so if you're going to use that technique of doing sort of a transfer kind of thing, I recommend actually using a harder pastel, like a new pastel or something like that, so you don't run into that problem because that's kind of annoying. So what I'm doing here is I'm just going ahead and adding some colors in, because these pencils are so well, they're on the hard side, but if you use them very lightly, you can actually go over it and do some really kind of nice transitions as far as your colors and shading. And I'm not going to do too much on the face area right now, just because that will be probably the last thing that I work on, just because for one thing, it's the most challenging. But I kind of right now I'm in the phase of just sort of blocking things in. So I'm not too worried about the edges and things like that. I'll go in and fix all that stuff later.
This is what she does. See this kind of stuff?
Oh, what was that? Was there a question?
No, there are some people joining us, and I didn't have a chance to mute. So that's comments from the audience. So you're not drawing by yourself.
So I've been kind of obsessed with horses all my life, and I just really, really enjoy drawing them. I used to actually do a lot of riding. I'm kind of horseless right at the moment, but I used to do a lot of competing. This particular rider is doing a cross-country course. And that's one of my favorite things in the whole world was doing cross-country, because that's where you're galloping over these, I don't know, hedges, you're jumping into water, into ponds, and clambering up mountains and stuff like that. I just absolutely love the thrill of it. But now that I'm a little bit older, I don't know if I'd want to be doing that because it's very dangerous. But it's so much fun, especially if you have a really good horse. And I did have a very good horse at the time. Some people, you know, especially people who are used to doing kind of a more painterly style with pastels, would find this absolutely excruciatingly boring. But for me, I actually really, really like doing this. This to me is my meditation. So her face looks pretty yucky right now, but that's okay. I'll do a lot more on that later. Kind of fixing it up.
There are more questions about transfer, but I believe it's a subject like for separate class, not even demonstration, right? Like transferring your photograph.
Well, maybe. I mean, let's see. I think I've got my one that I use.
Yeah, if you can
Yeah.
elaborate on that, because I have a chat full on
Oh,
questions
okay.
about that.
Actually, this is the one that I used. I don't know if you can see it okay, but you can kind of see my pen lines on it. I taped it actually to another piece of paper just because it's so messy on the backside. But I'll kind of tear it apart so you can see. Oops. I kind of like keeping my reference stuff, but you know, just so I have it. But anyway, that's what it looked like on the backside. So it was just rubbing, you know, the pastel over the back. And actually, if you were to use something like a Terry Ludwig, you could probably get past the problem that I experienced of it kind of coming off in chunks, is by just brushing it a little bit. Because you don't really need very much for you to get the details and the lines in. And actually, when I finally get to kind of the end of this, I'll probably blot out some of those lines too, just because they're distracting, and I don't want people to see my I don't know, my use of my sketch in there. So I'm kind of at the point where I'm sort of done with the skin, which is really one of the lightest parts on this whole picture. That and the horse. So I'm going to find other areas that are pretty light. Now there's a really light spot right there. Go ahead.
Can we see the reference again? Can you just show
Sure.
it to us again?
So my light is kind of distracting on it, but you can kind of see how there's a lot of blue there. And I really, really like that. And that's kind of one of those things that it's a distortion that's actually from the app and actually from the photo, because of course it wasn't really that blue, but I kind of like that saturation. It's nice. And this light is really making it very blown out. But if you were to see it in without the light, it's quite a bit darker. Let's see. I'm going to use this Derwent because that's a pretty light color, but it's not blue enough.
Guys, till we get reference photo, I just snapped picture of it, so just be mindful of a distortion. But for those of you who need to see reference right now, and we will include it with a recording. I sent one in the chat. So you can save it and pull it up. Just be
Thanks for
mindful. It's a
doing that.
screen. It's a screen of a screen of a screen. So
Well, and I can send it too, you know, so, and actually it is in that presentation as well. But at the end, I can send it. I might even be able, I don't know, can I attach? Yeah, I could probably attach it to the chat.
if you can, that would be great. But no worry about it. Like today is good. Later today is good too.
Okay. Yeah, and the other thing is, I mean, obviously, I probably won't finish this. So I can send the finished one when I get it done. So that for anybody who's interested.
Yeah, that would be.
So one of the things that is in my sketch here, but I don't really want it, is the edge of what is actually her chest protector. It's kind of a vest that the riders wear. That's in case they fall off. See right there. She's wearing a protective vest. And that's pretty important because for safety's sake. I used to have one of those too. Actually, I still do, but now hers really isn't purple, but that's the way the colors are showing up in my reference. And I kind of like that. Anyway, I saw that BF Reed is on this Zoom. And oh my gosh, she is like one of my favorite artists in the whole world. Anyway, thanks for being here, BF.
Hey, Chris, and back at you. Thanks so much.
Oh, yeah. If you ever get a chance to see her work, like go to her website or something. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Her work is just whew. So one of the things that I kind of like about this technique is you can include stuff or not, depending on how you feel about it or how it looks. Because there's probably lots of stuff here that I may actually wind up not using just because they're distracting. So another thing that I use, let's see if I can find it. Oh, anyway, it's a little tool. Ah, here it is. Okay, so this is called a Mono Zero, and these are great. I actually got this for doing graphite stuff, but boy, is it ever terrific for making erasing stuff. Anyway, I love working this way. There's other things you can do too if you wanted, if you made a mistake and it's really not coming out with the eraser, is I try and find a pencil that matches the background pretty well too. So that way I can kind of eliminate some of these little details that are there that I don't want to have in there. But that's kind of what you do in the final stages more than at this particular stage. Another reason why I put in the white areas over here is that it's unbelievably awkward working this way with my phone right in front of my face. And I mean, you can't see it, but oh my gosh, I'm doing sort of this contortionist thing right now. So just to put in some of the color over here, this actually is the saddle pad that's there, but and it's actually not one of the lighter values, but for some reason I just felt like I wanted to start putting that in. And actually, I'm going to maybe start working on some of the stuff on the horse. Now, this Derwent is kind of on the dull side, but I don't want to take a chance of trying to sharpen it right now because, boy, these Derwents, they really have a bad habit of breaking. And I'm not sure whether it's because some of my Derwents are older, and that could be a possibility too, that maybe they become more brittle. I don't know. But boy, they break so easy. You'd never want to ever drop them because they'll break within the wood and they're pretty much useless after that.
I just want to say I have a handheld, the little metal one, the little brass one. I think it's by Mobius Rupert. If I'm just wanting to put just a quick little sharpen on it, that works out really well.
Oh, that's good to know. Tell me again what that is.
It's called Mobius Rupert. It's a small brass one.
Oh,
And it's really great for just trying to repoint it when you're not trying to just sharpen it all the way. You just wanting to point it up a little bit. It's great.
yeah. Oh, that's good to know. And
Mhm.
actually, I could use the good old fashioned, these a
Right,
lot
right.
too. Yeah.
Yep. Mhm.
Feel like this is still kind of on the light side. I'm going to add a little bit more of this blue. And you'll notice that when I'm using these pencils, for the most part, I use them on the side of the pencil as opposed to using it like straight up and down. UArt is such a nice surface to work on. Um, you can get just such beautiful blending with it. And then, even if you want to just do it kind of sort of sketchy on it, it actually has such a nice soft texture to it. I kind of come from more of an illustration, drawing kind of background, and I think that's probably why I don't use the sticks maybe as much as other people do. I use the pencils. But I also have found that, there was a time when I was thinking that I wanted to find out what my my style was. And then I didn't really realize it, but I guess I was there all along because I actually have been using the background of my surfaces almost for a really long time, actually, for as long as I've been doing pastels. I started doing pastels probably around 2009. And I started using just using the background, and that's my favorite surface at that time was Art Spectrum Color Fix. And I used to like the soft umber, and I use that a lot, especially for my commissioned portraits. I found that would be really wonderful. So I'm kind of just moving around the piece a little bit. There's something that is occurring in the reference photo that I really like a lot. And that is right in this area right here. There's a really nice kind of orangey golden thing that's happening there that I really like. Oops. Now, this is kind of a small piece. I've been actually working a lot larger recently. That the polo player one, that one actually is 12 by 16. And I'm kind of liking working at that size a little bit more than this, which is 9 by 12. With the polo player, that one was kind of fun because I really don't have much experience with polo. I've never played it. I've only watched polo once, so I wasn't really sure how the rules go. But that one particular picture had the polo player wearing number 1. And so I was reading up about the just how the rules and how the game is played. And I found out that number 1 is actually the least experienced player on the team. And that their sole purpose is pretty much to guard number 4, because number 4 is the most experienced player on the opposite team. And so their job is pretty much purely defense. So that's why the title is covering number 4, because that's exactly what that particular rider is doing. He's actually doing a really sharp turn to the left. And having ridden and everything, I kind of know exactly what that feels like. And so that's another thing that I guess is kind of important for anytime you're doing a piece, is whether you're kind of feel involved with what the action is occurring. And this one here, I mean, I can feel how it feels to be in this exact position of riding. Right now, what's happening here is she's getting her horse very collected up towards the jump. And so the horse's front end is lifting up, and he's really engaging his hindquarters to get ready to do the jump. And that's what you want. She is gathering them up, collecting them is what they call it. And so that they can go over the jump. It's funny because people have asked me too, like that don't know about riding and things like that. So what part of it is the horse and what part is the rider? Well, it really is both. But the rider actually does do an awful lot to influence how the horse approaches it. If the horse is going way too flat, it's not going to be able to jump the jump properly. The rider has to be able to gauge how many strides it's going to take to get to the jump. So when you're actually getting ready to do one of these jumps, you're going 1, 2, 3, jump. And you're actually, you really are kind of almost controlling the movement. Which really, it's wonderful because you really are becoming a team at that point. And there's so much trust that's involved with that.
Chris, you said something very important, what you can feel how it feels. So it's more than a photograph for you. You can
Oh my gosh.
you actually connected to it. It's your experience with it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I think everybody, well, I think all lots of artists do this, is even when you're working on a landscape, you're feeling like you're in that moment. You're feeling just like you're there. And I think it can't help but come out in your piece.
Yes, uh, my days kind of blur together, but anyway, the day when we practiced, I said what there is a borderline between technicality and a magic, and magic comes from experience. Uh, it feels right to rotate. It feels right to add drama, and that comes only from your experience as an artist, and that's how that magic happens, what you see. And it's what's
Absolutely. And I even experienced that a whole lot when I was doing portraits, especially when I was doing portraits of, say, it might be a pet or it might be a person who had passed away. Oh my gosh, those are the roughest ever because I feel so much like I know that person by the time I start, working on their eyes and their nose and everything. And to me, I feel so emotionally evolved that actually I even dream about the person that I'm doing the picture of. So you can't really see it here too well, but there's a shadow that's occurring right there.
That way she puts her hands forward and then just holds herself.
This is a little bit lighter than what it should be, but that's okay. I can always go in and darken it up.
I need to watch the little one, okay? I got San Francisco on the buck side. I'm rooting to help show it down, but San Fran's ahead of town. Yeah, I told her.
See something there.
I also asked her favorite. And she said if I root for the Niners instead, she'd do it Apple. And I said, okay, I'm rooting for the Niners today.
For all the millions of colors that are available, pastels and everything, as we all know, there always seems to be colors that you're missing, that they're not just quite right. But that's why it's so nice to be able to do the blending with them. Boy, there's some really kind of nice little golden things happening down over here too.
my apologies. It's my microphone, and it's my husband took phone call, so I apologize for the background. I will mute myself and unmute when I need to ask question, but I'm
That's okay. Ooh, that's not looking good. So this happens is that it goes through kind of what everybody calls the ugly stage. And right now it's kind of starting to do that a little bit just because there's things that are sort of disjointed and they're not working together very well. I think Liz Hayward Sullivan had a word for it, children that are not behaving. And you just have to kind of be patient and work through it. I think that's one of the things about being an artist anyways, is that you have to have faith. Because there's sometimes that you might feel like, oh gosh, this is not working at all. But just to have the sort of belief that, yeah, you can pull this off. I might too go in and use some grays on it too. Right now, I've pretty much just been using color. But that way I can do some muting too if necessary, just to tone down the chroma a little bit. I don't know if this will do it. Nope. That's too light. And one of the things too that I'll be doing as I get closer towards the end is some of these areas that have more texture in them than others. I kind of like sometimes to have um, a little bit of texture showing just to make it look like it's not a photograph. Because that's one of the things that, of course, people go and say, oh my gosh, it looks like a photograph. Well, that's almost like kind of almost insulting because you don't really want it to look like a photograph. You want it to look better than a photograph. So I always try to leave at least some of it sort of loose and sketchy, just because I want to have people look at it from, say, a distance and say, wow, that's amazing. Then come up closer and say, wow, yeah, it's just a drawing or a painting. You know, that's one of the things I really like when I go to see original art that's in galleries is you can see it from a distance and then just going right up to it if the docents don't get after you, because that happens to me all the time. Where I want to see the brush strokes. I want to see, you know, how they did their lines. Unfortunately, the docents sometimes don't appreciate that. So just right now, it kind of doesn't make sense. So I feel like I have to add some of the little bit of the dark grays that are in here. And this is one thing too, that when you see this, you would think, well, gee, shouldn't the mane be flying up? But at this particular, the way the horse is, he's actually going up. So he's rising up. And so his mane is actually kind of falling towards his neck as opposed to flying up as you would almost expect it to. So that's the kind of one of the things too that's always so important about anything that you're drawing is really understanding the subject. Ooh, that's too dark, or too light, I should say. And what I'll be doing too is some of these lines too are not distinct enough, so I'll kind of go in and fix them. But that again would be kind of near the end. Let's see, what other spots should I work on? Maybe I'll do this part here. Thanks for hanging in there with me while I was having my technical difficulties.
Thank you. Maybe I'll keep muted because you can hear not just my husband, but also nursery rhymes we're reading the book. So be all close. Guys, if you have any questions, please use chat feature down below.
Yes, please ask. Yeah, I'm so grateful to my friends joining in too. That's so wonderful. Gosh. Anyhow, to me, right now, looking at this, it looks so rough. But I'll be able to kind of blend things and kind of fix them up a little bit later. Right now, just still kind of blocking stuff in. But maybe you can see that how much just having that background already in there really helps out actually a lot. In some respects, I guess it's almost kind of like a crutch because it's doing some of the work for you already.
Hey Terry, nice to see you online. Here's a question from Terry Rosenblum. She was part of our Orange and Red to Orange show. Question to Chris. When you do larger piece, do you use grid for your drawing or do you use the transfer technique?
Uh, so far I've used the transfer. But that's not to say I haven't ever done it. I just, the transfer one is just so much faster. And I guess maybe I'm kind of impatient. It's sort of funny because while I'm doing this, I'm not impatient at all. I'm kind of in the zone and, but when I'm actually getting ready to do it, I just want to get to the piece. And so doing it with transfer is really quick. And that's why I do that because it just seems like the grid process is just so much work. But I think, if I was going to be doing a piece that was obviously really huge, that's bigger than my printer, yeah, I'd definitely probably be gridding. If I was doing something that was, say, even larger than I think the largest that my printer will do is something like a 13 by 17 or something like that. But I don't have anything I don't have a printer that could do any bigger than that. So And one of the things too that I like is I like working on panels as opposed to working on paper. I used to always work on just paper, but now using the panels is so wonderful, especially when you plan on it being a certain standard size, like this case, 9 by 12. Boy, does it ever make it easy for framing, and I love that. I've also had some trouble. I did a piece that was, gosh, it was about almost 3 feet tall by, I don't know, something like 28 inches across. And I've had trouble with that one. I've had to have it reframed a couple of times because the paper shifted and it was on paper. It has a tendency to slip and kind of buckle. And that's really a pain. I don't know how other people have gotten away or around that. The only thing I can think of course, is that you'd have to have it mounted, like dry mounted onto a surface.
Touchdown. Big one.
Mm-hmm.
Did you want a sandwich or?
Yeah.
I'll get the stuff out.
I wouldn't mind a sandwich.
Thank you so much for making me feel better for not being the only loud one. Whoever is didn't obey muting, like me talking about being mute and quiet, and that's like one thing it is, it's never quiet. So sandwiches for everyone.
Yes.
Guys, don't be shy. Use chat feature if you have any more questions. Please feel free to unmute yourself and ask Christine directly, whatever you prefer.
Yeah, because I think you have to go pretty soon, don't you,
Yeah, I
Dasha?
have a hard stop at 11:30.
Yeah, so, and I mean, this is looking pretty rough, you guys, but um, it's just that's just what it happens. This is real.
No, it will be interesting. So if you don't mind snapping a picture at this stage,
Yeah.
and maybe when you finish it, also, so it will show perspective.
Yeah, I definitely will do that.
And maybe you already have a picture of your first step, one what like just white, one what just had white. So that will kind of gives us step-by-step thing.
You know what? I didn't do that. I'm sorry, but I do have like a picture of it at a distance, but I don't have it up close because honestly I didn't think of it. But yeah, I can show you that part at least.
Sure.
You know, when I'm working on these too, it always is a little bit of a journey because sometimes I really don't know exactly how it's going to turn out. And sometimes it's kind of nice actually to leave things open for happy surprises, um, where you go, well, oh, I kind of like how that looks. Or, that doesn't really work. So it's that's kind of one of the fun parts too, is just kind of every so often sort of standing back and going, well, I like that. Sometimes too, for me to check my values, what I'll do is I actually will turn off most of the lights and just kind of look at it in a sort of dark space, just because I find that kind of helpful too for assessing my values and composition. So the things that I'm going to be working on from this stage is I want to soften a lot of these things. Right now, this part is too light. So I will be probably darkening this. I'll take it to a little bit darker level by probably just either using one of these or a darker gray. But I also want to take out the texture that you're seeing here. So I'll be smoothing it out. Now, I'm not a person who does uses their finger very often, um, only if I have to. I don't know why, but it seems like sometimes when you use your finger, it just dulls the color so much, and I don't like that. And besides, I guess maybe this is a little bit of the control freak of me. I kind of like to be able to control how much of that softening you get, whether it's a lot or a little. Anyway, pastels are such an awesome medium. I mean, all the different things you can do with it is just it's crazy, really. I mean, it's literally a medium for everyone.
Thank you. Great demo in the chat. Thank you guys for messages.
Oh, and did you put my email address in there so that people could
Yeah,
get?
yes, I did. Which one do you want to use? I have a couple of them for you. Which one do you prefer to use?
Use chrisobers@gmail.com.
chrisobers@gmail.com. Okay, and I will include it at in our email we were recording, so it's you don't have to hunt in the chat.
That'd be great. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, Dasha, you're so awesome. I mean, anyway, I really, really appreciate you giving me this opportunity. Thank you, everybody who's watching. This has been really fun. I hope you feel like you learned something. I've really enjoyed doing this.
Thank you so much. We're still here hanging out for a few minutes, but they have one impatient viewer, so she will be helping now. Say hi. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, how cute.
They say video conferencing is not considering the screen time. So, да. Чё? Your paintings are, you're always stunning. Thank you for your time, Chris.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you.
It's a chat, yes. Julie Frank say, and thank you so much for your time, Judy Pfeiffer. Thank you, very interesting. Thank you, Chris. I enjoyed it. Wonderful demo. Thank you from Susan Johnson. Thank you guys
Aw.
so much.
Oh, well, I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Well, is smart already, so that gives her this keyboard to play with, and she's reaching for real one. She knows what that one doesn't do tricks if it's turned off, so she's reaching for real one.
Well, anyway, this is all I'll do for right now, and yeah, I'll keep working on it, and I'll show you how it winds up being.
Yes, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Thank you guys for joining us this Saturday. You can unmute yourself, say a few words, how much you enjoyed today's, ask questions if you have any. Thank you for hanging out with us today.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Appreciate it.
Beautiful. It's just gorgeous.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. If you have any questions too, feel free to email me.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Love the work.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Have a great day.
Bye,
You too.
guys. Thank you so much,
And
Chris.
Dasha, it looks like you have a budding pastel artist with you.
She's more musical nature, I would say, but she loves art books. One of her favorites is Michelangelo. I do not know is it by his that, but she found him very interesting.
I love it.
So we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. Thank you so much, guys.
guys.
Recording will be available soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.